We have a very important subject in today's video. We are going to talk about inclusivity of color analysis. So, does it work for all skin tones or not? Because opinions on this subject are divided. If color analysis isn't inclusive, does it mean that we need a separate system for different skin tones? I often see on social media those videos where people try different colors on them, either physical color swatches or they record the screen when they are using some color analysis application, and they ask others' opinion on which of those colors suit them best in order to identify their color season. Whenever a person with dark skin asks that question or takes part in the discussion, they are advised that they must be a dark, differently called a deep color season, and they should wear dark and intense colors. There are endless discussions on how you have to be blonde and have fair skin to be a light color season, and how everyone with dark eyes, dark skin, and dark hair has to be a dark winter or a dark autumn. According to social media, you can be a spring only if you have green eyes and blonde hair, and you can only be an autumn if you have red hair and freckles. This is utter rubbish. It comes from misunderstanding color analysis, lack of knowledge about color theory, and it's very harmful because that belief gatekeeps all 12 color seasons to white people and pushes people with other skin tones to a limited number of color seasons and a limited number of colors that should suit them. People who share their opinion online often don't have any training in color analysis. They just watched some videos on TikTok or YouTube, maybe read a book or two about color analysis, and now share their enlightened theories with others. If this is your first time here, welcome to my channel. I'm Gosia Brzoska, a certified personal stylist and color consultant based in London. I'm also an employee in the fashion industry. Today I'm going to bust some myths and explain whether color analysis really works for everyone, whether we need different color analysis systems for people with different skin tones. I would like to start with history of color analysis because it is a fact that color analysis was created by white people. The question is, was it created for white people? Judging by the fact that color analysis theory was first used in the makeup industry in the mid-20th century, we could say so. There were several books, many articles published throughout the 20th century about color analysis. The oldest book I read was Color Me Beautiful, and I have the 2008 edition. That book showed photos of people with different skin tones. Let me show you. However, it represents that stereotypical approach to color analysis. We have light color seasons here. As you can see, all these people are blonde. I don't know if they are naturally blonde. If someone knows, please tell me, because these are famous people. And then we have the light color palette, and now we have deep. So as you can tell, this is the stereotypical approach to color analysis. And we have deep one that says you have a pale to olive skin tone, deep 2 that says that your skin has golden tones rather than olive, and this is deep 3, and it says that you have a deep hair color, dark brown skin tone, and deep eye color. But then when we look at warm, we have people of different ethnicities, and when we look at cool, it's the same. So according to this book, a person's color season is identified based on their look. Professional color analysis has now moved away from this approach. We are going back to the roots of color analysis, that is color theory. I will tell about it more in a moment. Just an interesting fact, I'm going to come closer to the camera. Apparently, based on my look, my eye color, my hair color, my skin color, I'm mostly assessed as a soft autumn or an autumn in general. Apparently, my colors are very muted and I look great in grayish red, brownish, beigey colors, which is not true. The real brightness of my features comes out when I wear the colors that suit me. That's why color analysis shouldn't be based on the person's look, but on testing colors on them, on the actual analysis. The main theory that led to creating a color analysis system was created and developed by two people separately. Both of them were artists, painters, and art teachers. The first, Albert Henry Mansell, published a book in which he described three color attributes on which color analysis is based these days. The second person was Johansen Itten, who in his book The Art of Color described the subjective color as the aura of a person. He basically noticed in his classes that people who have a high contrast in their own features would choose high contrasting color combinations in their art. People who have warm features would have preference for warm colors, and people who have dark features would choose darker colors for their art. Which means that in general, people are more likely to choose colors that suit them personally. So these two people and their theories were the real base for color analysis system. The big issue I can see with basing color analysis on person's look: who gets to decide who is white enough to get their color analysis done and get their best colors matched that way, and who will have a deep color season automatically assigned to them. So for example, if one of your parents has a fair skin tone and another doesn't, can you have your color analysis done? And then if there is a person from ethnicity considered white, but then skin tone is deeper than yours, I'm thinking now, for example, Italians with darker skin tone, then will they have their color analysis done when you don't? Like, who actually qualifies for color analysis and whose decision it is? So in reality, in color analysis, we use three color attributes to assess a person's color season. Every color can be either warm or cool, dark or light, and bright or soft. One of these attributes is always dominant, two others are supportive. That creates 12 possible combinations of these attributes. Those combinations are represented by the 12 color seasons. Each color season has its own color palette of the colors that can be described with those three attributes. Even if color analysis was created with white people in mind, every person has a skin color, an eye color, a lip color, and a hair color, and therefore is a subject of the same color theory. Now I will show you examples of how we assess these three attributes in people's complexion. I will start with assessing the value, whether the color is dark or light, because it seems to be the most misunderstood attribute in color analysis. It's not about whether your skin is pink, beige, or brown. In color analysis, we look at the relative value of color. It means your own hair compared to your own skin and your own eyes, not compared to other people, not even people with the same skin color as yours. For this exercise, I'm going to use stock images of different models. If we look at this person's photo, on social media, most people would say that she must be a dark autumn because of her dark skin, dark eyes, and hair. Her skin also has this warm, slightly orange tone, but I'm not sure this could be due to filters put on this photo. So let's see how she looks in dark autumn colors, and we can also compare dark winter because that's another dark season. And now we can already see that these colors are probably too dark for her. She almost disappeared in these color samples. I think that she looks much nicer in the color of the jumper that she's already wearing in the photo, although something is still off. And I think that the value, the lightness of this jumper is great because it looks much better than the darker colors that we tried on. So now let's replace this slightly warm, slightly coral shade with a cooler pink. And I think that this color is perfect. So it would indicate that we should test other colors from the same group of colors on her, other cool and soft colors. Without a proper color analysis, I would assume that she could be a soft summer. And if I was doing an actual color analysis of her, I would proceed with testing soft summer colors. An important thing to mention is that soft summer attributes are soft, cool, and light. When you compare her to my photo, I'm a cool winter, and my attributes are cool, bright, and dark. So even though I have fair skin, even though my eyes are blue, according to color analysis, my coloring is darker than coloring of this person. So this already shows that color analysis shouldn't be based on skin color and that we should work on the relative attributes of those colors. Another thing that I want to point out is the temperature of color, because brown is considered a warm color, but it doesn't mean that a person with brown skin and brown hair has to be a warm season. Here we have an example of a person who looks beautiful in cool colors. Actually, let's compare what she looks like in the soft autumn. These colors are also soft, also quite light, but warmer, and I think that she looks much better in soft summer colors. Now let's discuss chroma. Chroma describes whether the color is bright or soft, and in color analysis, chroma also describes the contrast between the person's features. If you have high contrast in your features, you will look great in contrasting color combinations, but also bright colors. If you have low contrast in your features, you will look good in low contrasting color combinations or monochromatic color combinations, as well as in softer colors. According to a common misunderstanding of color analysis, high contrast exists only in people who have fair skin combined with dark hair. But I want to show you on the example of this model that it's not necessarily the case. I had used this photo previously for my other video about best lipstick shades for different color seasons. If you are interested in that subject, I will link the video in the description. On that occasion, I was trying to do this person's color analysis to match the best lipstick colors for hair. It wasn't possible because this photo is highly edited and has many shadows, but to me it was clear that this model is either a bright winter or a cool winter, a bright season and a cool season. She's definitely one of those. It means that her features are highly contrasting and she's flattered by contrasting color combinations. Again, I don't think that colors from a dark autumn or dark winter palette would give justice to her natural beauty. On this occasion, I would also like to mention, because apart from learning personal styling, I also did courses in fashion styling, and I worked at London Fashion Week, at fashion shows and photo shoots. And I remember that one of our classes was about colors. It was a very brief instruction on how to use colors in your images and also how to choose the right model for the fashion story that you want to create. For fashion shoots, no one does color analysis. The focus isn't on the model, the focus is on the story and on the products that you want to feature. So you choose the right model for your story, you dress them in the clothes that you're featuring, and the makeup artist creates the makeup that is right for the story. The model's face is treated as white canvas. So we were taught these simple rules. For example, people with fair skin and light hair would be great for these icy cold, very light color stories. An example could be Tilda Swinton, who in reality, I think I heard that she's a warm season, an autumn or a spring, I don't remember, but basically she's not the season that we were advised that she would look best in those colors on set. And people with blonde, very warm hair, warm skin would look great for these romantic stories like prairie, flowers, these kind of things. And people with dark skin would look great in the stories with fluorescent colors, very bright colors. Fashion shoots are different. It's not realistic to try to do a color analysis of a model before you choose them. You choose a model from the portfolios that you get. Of course, the look of that model, their aura could add something to your story, but then what if that model is cancelled and you have to choose someone who is available last minute? So that's why it's unrealistic. However, I know that some personal stylists also use this simplified method when working with their clients for personal styling, which I don't agree with. That's just a digression, an interesting fact. Let's go back to the subject of this video. In personal color analysis, when I'm trying to assess the brightness of the person's features, I always start with the eyes. In this photo, you can see how bright the white of the eye is. No matter whether a person has brown, hazel, blue eyes, bright white of the eye always creates high contrast. She's wearing mascara, but judging by the eyebrow color compared to her skin color, we have a very dark eye frame. So judging by the eyes, I would start color analysis from testing the brightest seasons, bright winter and bright spring, when deep seasons, dark autumn and dark winter, have lower contrast. I think too low contrast for this person. Of course, further tests would tell us which direction we should follow, but this, according to this first test, I would say this person's features are bright. However, in this case, the white of the eye has a very soft color. It doesn't contrast with the iris enough. Can you see that? I would start from testing soft seasons, probably soft autumn and warm autumn. I don't think I would test soft summer. I also tried to run some tests on Asian models. Unfortunately, their photos were edited, mostly brightened to the point when it wasn't possible to even approximately match their best or worst colors. Their skin was so lightened up that I didn't see any difference on their face between different colors. I've seen discussions online when someone would say that they had one color analysis done in either Europe or America and another in Japan or Korea. And a Western color consultant would choose their color season based on colors that make them look radiant and brighten their face up, when the Asian color consultant would choose the color season that makes that person look paler. It's important to remember that different cultures have different beauty ideals, and it can affect the approach to color analysis. I hope that the examples that I showed you leave no doubts that color analysis is suitable for people with any skin color. I shared my perspective as a professional color consultant. If your opinion as a client for color analysis or a consumer of content about color analysis on social media is different than mine, please share your opinion in the comments. Let's discuss this subject. But there is one big issue I see with color analysis at the moment, and it's the practical use of your color palette. For example, in makeup. So let's say that you have had your color analysis done, your color consultant told you what is your season, gave you your personal color palette, maybe even gave you recommendations of specific makeup products that you could use. Most color consultants, including myself, aren't professional makeup artists. They don't have makeup experience other than their own, and they can only advise you on the colors, not on the products and textures that would work for you. So if the consultant has fair skin and all their clients have fair skin too, that person will have no idea what kind of textures, what kind of products will work for you. Because some of them, in theory, they should be perfect, but then on your skin they will appear ashy or they won't be visible at all. So that can be a problem if you are also expecting the practical advice, not only your color palette, but specific products for you. It shouldn't be, of course, a problem with clothing. It's more about makeup. But with clothing, the problem is if a personal stylist or color consultant creates educational content for social media about color analysis, and if they have light skin and they are surrounded by the audience of people who also have the same skin tone, they may forget that there are different perspectives. And I've seen it a lot on social media when personal stylists and color consultants with my skin color would address their advice to the group of people with the same skin color. So, for example, the fact is that if you want your legs to appear longer, you can wear nude shoes. So the person who forgets a different perspective would say that if you want your legs to appear longer, you should wear beige or light pink shoes. That, of course, isn't true for all people, because someone's nude shoes could be brown or caramel, darker beige. If we keep spreading misinformation about color analysis and color advice that excludes a great number of the world population, those people will see that styling advice or color analysis advice doesn't apply to them, which means they won't be interested in having their color analysis done, and they won't be interested in becoming color consultants themselves, because they will have impression that color analysis isn't for them. So in my opinion, we don't need a different system of color analysis, because the one that is based on color attributes works perfectly for everyone. But what we need is representation, examples of people with different skin tones, and also color consultants who have different skin tones and their own experience of dressing, of doing makeup. But on another hand, there is so much criticism about white people mostly, also on the subject of color analysis, who give advice to people without knowing their perspective, without having the same experience as they have. So on one side, we should be more inclusive in color analysis, but on another, should a color consultant with a specific skin tone give color advice to people with different skin tone from their own, when on top of that, they may be potentially a cultural aspect of using specific colors? Would that be inclusive or would that be ignorant? What's the right thing to do and what is the right approach? This is an honest question from me. Please share your opinion in comments below. Thank you for watching this video. Consider subscribing and I will see you in my next video.